Hello, everybody. It's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Thanks for joining us here on, where are we? On YouTube. Be sure to check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for everything Royal Caribbean related. And we are live every Monday, including this video here, which was recorded live. So if you missed it live, come join us here. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss out on any of our live video sessions. Today, we're talking about something I think is really important, really helpful, because we're going to be talking about the top 10 Royal Caribbean tips that I actually use every cruise. Like, you've read a bunch of tips probably here at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Heck, you may have read some on tips on other websites, other YouTube videos. There's a ton of advice out there on how to take a cruise, and I dispel quite a bunch of it as well. But you know what? There are only some tips that I actually use every cruise. So today, it's all about me. No, actually, it's about sharing my experiences with you guys. We got the top 10 things I use every single time. Number one, with a bullet, and I mean this every single time, I use a travel agent. When I book a cruise, no matter which sailing it is, no matter how far out it is, always use a travel agent. It is one of my best tips that I can dispense, and I use it every single time. Travel agents are not so much about saving you money, although they definitely can do that. It's really about making your life easier, and I cannot imagine booking a cruise now, planning a cruise, dealing with issues without a travel agent. I would be, frankly, at a loss. A good travel agent is worth every penny. So that's a really big one. Number two, I pre-purchase as much as I can before the cruise via the Cruise Planner website. I am a big proponent of purchasing things before the cruise. Back in the day, before there were a lot of available options to pre-purchase before a cruise, I would oftentimes just run up a bill during the sailing, buying drinks, going to especially restaurants, going on shore excursions. At the end of the cruise, I always have this big monster bill, and I hated that. I hated having that big bill at the end of the cruise. So I started pre-purchasing as much as I can. I love pre-purchasing because, number one, it allows me to take advantage of the lowest possible price, because anything you purchase on a Royal Caribbean's Cruise Planner website can be canceled and rebooked if there's a price drop, so that's peace of mind right there. Number two, it allows me to pay it off at the time of purchase, which helps break up total cost of the cruise. So if I buy something 3 months before the cruise, that's on that billing cycle and not just at the monster bill at the end of the cruise. It really helps a lot. And I pre-purchase drink packages, I pre-purchase dining packages, I pre-purchase shore excursions, and I also prepay my gratuities. It makes it so much easier on me. Number three, if I'm flying to my cruise, I always fly in at least one day before the sailing. This is a big tip right here, friends, because you do not want to be that person at the airport freaking out, losing their mind, and yelling at the gate agent because your entire vacation now is in jeopardy because the flight has been canceled, rerouted, delayed, whatever. Never fly into your port the day of your cruise. You are just asking for a problem right there. Always come in at least a day early, and the best part about coming in at least a day early is you start your vacation a little bit sooner. So that's a big one right there. Number four, speaking of the port, I arrived to the port early. That's right, on the day of embarkation. When you wake up in the morning and you're like, yes, it's cruise day. Well, you know what? I'm not sitting around just taking my sweet old time. We get to the port. Usually, when I say early, you might be wondering when early is. I'll usually be at the port by about 10 a.m. or so. And the reason why I get there so early is because the earlier I check in, the earlier I board, the earlier I start my cruise vacation. Regardless of what price you paid for your cruise, whether you show up at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m., it's the same price, it's the same vacation, but if you show up at 2 p.m., you're losing out on a few hours of vacation time. Why not be on the ship? Take advantage of that. Get lunch built into that. Your drink package benefits already kick in that early. So I figure if I'm going to wait in the hotel room or I'm going to wait on the ship, may as well wait on the ship. Going for it. Number five, these are, the top 10 tips I use every single sailing, every cruise I go on. I always consider excursions both with Royal Caribbean and third parties. Man, of all the comments I get here on YouTube, I think the most confrontational comment is for people who think I am crazy for booking things on my own. But I consider both. I will never sit here and tell you everybody should book their excursions solely with a cruise line, or everybody should book their excursions solely on their own. I think it depends on the port, depends on your experience, and depends on what you want to do, quite frankly. But the bottom line is, I'm always a big fan of looking at both, weighing the options, and making the right choice for that particular port. I think limiting yourself and saying to yourself, I'm only going to book excursions through the cruise line or only on my own, is doing yourself a disservice because you're missing out on a lot of possible options that are out there. So consider both. Always do that. Number 6, this is something I started doing as my kids have gotten older, and that is pack bathing suits in our carry-on luggage on embarkation day. Yeah, that's right. Embarkation day is one of the best times to take advantage of the pool, of the water slides, any aquatic activities. All of those activities are open on embarkation day, and most people do not have their bathing suits because they packed it in their checked luggage. They will not get until later in the afternoon. Pack your bathing suits, use them. We'll eat lunch, then we'll immediately go change, and it's like having these activities to ourselves. It's one of the best times to go on the water slides, the flow rider, the main pool. It's really having the whole venue to yourself because a lot of people, a lot of cruisers do not know this, and they're sitting there with their regular clothes. Maybe they're sitting by the pool, but they're not actually in the pool because they don't have a bathing suit. So that's a really great one. And for parents, I'm telling you, pack your kids' bathing suits, let them burn off some energy. With all that excitement, it's really helpful. Number 7, this is one that I preach a lot and I practice what I preach, and that is if there is something's not quite right, I will let Royal Caribbean know. I will let a crew member know so it can be fixed. It can be something simple, like, I get a dish for dinner and it's not to my liking. It could be my stateroom needs an enhancement. Something's not quite right there. If there's an issue with the room, if there's an issue with the entertainment, if something's just not working right, we let Royal Caribbean know because we want them to make it better. It's my vacation, and sucking it up is not the way to do it. Politely explain to whomever, whether it's a crew member, your stateroom attendant, guest relations, whoever it is, but let them know, hey, look, there's a problem. I think it can be fixed if we do X, Y, or Z. Here's the feedback. See what they can do with it. You'd be surprised, happily surprised, how much effort they take to make things right and make your vacation better. So don't be afraid to speak up and say if something's not to your liking. Number 8, if I'm sailing on an Oasis or Quantum class Royal Caribbean ship, I always pre-book my entertainment. With entertainment, and I'm talking entertainment, I'm talking about shows and all the things you can pre-book in terms of entertainment on board these ships. It is well worth your time to do so. I know it's hard to plan, months ahead of time what you're going to want to be in the mood for on a particular day, whether it's going to be the comedy show or the show in the main theater or in the Aqua Theater. But the bottom line is you're doing yourself a service by booking these ahead of time, locking in a space. It really makes a big deal. So I highly recommend doing that. I do it every single time. When the entertainment becomes available, me and my wife sit down, we figure out, we do the best guessing we can, pick out the shows, and we make it work. So we usually have that to go with it. So that's number 8. Number 9 tip I do every single cruise I go on is, assuming I don't have a drink package, I bring wine on board. If you are looking for one of the best tips to save you money on your cruise, did you know you can bring up to 2 bottles of wine on your Royal Caribbean cruise per stateroom? Yeah, you can do that. It's totally okay. You don't have to sneak it on. 2 bottles of wine or champagne per stateroom can be brought on board. This will save you so much money because bottles of wine, they're not like $5 each on board, right? This will save you a ton of money. Bringing wine is one of my favorite tips to do. And the last tip that I use every single time I go on a Royal Caribbean cruise is I always use a porter on the last day of the cruise when I'm getting off the ship. The porters are those friendly folks who help you with your luggage and escort you through the luggage area and customs. And I'm going to tell you, there's 2 good reasons why you should use the porters during your on the last day. Number 1, look, I'm tired. On the last day, I am tired. I am depressed. I'm probably hungry. I just want to go home already. I don't want to deal with all these things. So lugging luggage around is the last thing I want to do. Let the porters help you. Makes my life easier. But the number 2 reason I use porters every single time is in some ports, not all of them, but in a lot of ports, porters have special lines for them through customs. Port Canaveral is a great example of this. It will save you so much time if you have a porter there. Use a porter. Their services are free. You just have to tip them. It's a couple bucks a bag, $5 or $10 max. Best money you ever spent. So there you go. There's the top 10 tips I use on every single one of my Royal Caribbean cruises. I would love to hear what tips do you guys use, because we're actually going to go over to our chat now, answer your cruise questions, and I want to hear what tips you guys use. What is one tip you do every sailing you go on? Manny wants to know, how do we pre-book entertainment? You go to Royal Caribbean's website and go to their cruise planner site and pre-book it there. Randy M wants to know, how often does Royal Caribbean drink packages cover wine and vintage? Sorry, I missed that question. Does deluxe beverage package cover wine adventures bar and harmony? It does, Mario. Up to $13 per glass. Not a ton of choices for that threshold, but there are some, yes. That was Mario's question. Randy wants to know, how often does Royal Caribbean have the drink packages at 30% off? Pretty often. There's drink package sales quite often, Randy. One of my favorite tips, and I'm not sure I mentioned this one, but it was part of it, is you can always cancel and rebook, Randy. So if you know you want a drink package, book it now, Randy. But you say, but you're going to tell me, Matt, I want to wait for the lowest price. That's okay. Book it now, lock in the price. If the price drops, you can cancel and rebook with no penalty. But if the price goes up, Randy, you'll be protected against that. That's why I advocate booking it now. Aggie, what is your favorite way of sneaking alcohol on board? I don't, Aggie Phil. You know why? Because if I can afford a cruise vacation, I can afford either a drink package or to pay for drinks on board. Sneaking the drinks on board is against the rules, and it's their rules. So it's either you go on the cruise and you play by the rules or you don't. I don't recommend doing that, so I don't have any ways of doing it. Not to mention, even if I did sneak alcohol on board, what am I going to do? Drink by myself in my room? Boring. No, it's not fun. I'm going to give a shout out to Bella Johnson. Bella, you're very, very welcome. Glad to have you here. Blind Junior wants to know, when's my next cruise? It is Mariner of the Seas Labor Day weekend. Big Dog Ron says, on Oasis and Quantum Class ships, I have my time dining. I book the shows first, then schedule dining times around the show time. This is a great tip, Ron. Absolutely. Country Boy Tony, did they refund your $18 a day drink package? No, we got to keep it. I got 2 of them in there for 2020. Dawn is here. Welcome, Dawn. Glad to see you in our chat. Christine Detmar says, we used the porter on our last cruise and got through customs in no time. It was a time saver. It is one of my favorites. Some people are just so against using porters because they have to tip them a couple bucks. And it's like, I can carry my own luggage. It's not the point. It can save you time. Jason Peterson's favorite tip is to research ports. Don't wing it. Excellent advice. Don't be those people who walk off the ship and then are like, okay, honey, what do you want to do now? I don't know. What's there to do in this port? Don't be those people. Sarah Johnson says, my kids Bella and Spencer love your videos. Shout out to Bella and Spencer. You guys rock. Thanks for watching my videos. Bella and Spencer are going on Liberty of the Seas. Can't wait. You guys are going to have an awesome, awesome cruise. Bella and Spencer, make sure your mom takes you on the tidal wave water slide. It is super cool. We did a similar slide at Perfect Day at Coco Key, and I brought my 2 daughters on there. They're 8 and 4, and my 8-year-old was screaming. She didn't really like it, but I think you're gonna like it. You guys are a little bit older. Let's see here. Brittany says a way to save money is not to drink any alcohol. You know what, Brittany? You're not wrong. One of the ways that really drives up the cost of your cruise is definitely indulging a little bit. So, alcohol, if you can avoid alcohol and go without it, absolutely, it'll save you a lot of money. Will says, I always go to the teen area to make friends. That's the most important tip I tell first-time cruisers. Great tip, absolutely. Especially on day 1. Very important. That's when all your friends are made. That's where the clicks are made. Go there on day 1. Bridget, can you bring a GoPro in the zip line at Labadee if I have a wrist strap? Yes, Bridget. But when I went to do the zip line, and I had the same thing, Bridget. I had a GoPro on a stick. I had a strap around it. But then the staff was like, you can do this, but when you get to the end, you need to let go of the selfie stick and then hold on to the end so you can brace yourself for landing. And I was like, that's a problem, because when I let go, it's going to snap, it's going to swing back and hit me in the face. So just keep that in mind. I'd more recommend, Bridget, I would recommend instead that you get a chest mount or a head mount. It's a lot easier. That way you have full use of your hands. Popular came so we can book entertainment. You can book entertainment on Oasis or Quantum Class ships only. Let's see here. Randy M, thank you for the super chat. How does anytime dining work? It's my time dining. My time dining is basically like dining out right now, Randy. If you say, let's go to a restaurant, what do we do, right? You either call ahead and make a reservation, or you simply show up and wait for a table. Same basic idea. You can pre-book your dining reservation via the Cruise Planner website. You can make a reservation once you're on board the ship. Or, Randy, you can simply show up and get a available table on a first-come, first-served basis. You can. My advice is to book as much as you can ahead of time. But the nice thing about my time is you can book different times throughout your cruise, right? So you're not locked into one set time. Miguel Guzman, selling on a Champion of the Seas in 2 days. First Royal Caribbean cruise. I've been watching all your videos to prepare. Awesome. So glad to hear it. Tina says, after 5 months to Quantum of the Seas, usually how early they start for the shows you mentioned on Quantum Class. You know what, Tina? It's going to be a little bit closer to sailing. Back in the day, Tina, it would have been further out. You could book entertainment, but these days Royal Caribbean seems to be bringing that window closer to your sail days. So keep checking back in. Anna says, any tips on how to save money on Oasis class ships? You have a group of 17 people, all family. How many? I mean, if you're booking more than 8 rooms, Anna, I would work with first of all, I would work with the travel agent anyway, but work with a travel agent, all of you, and work on getting a group, because by having a group, you can get some money back. That's a neat thing. By forming a group, you need to book a certain amount of rooms to form a room block there. David Affelt's tip is to go to the helipad for sailway. Great tip, David. It obviously depends on which ship you're sailing on. Not all ships have that ability, but you're absolutely right. Justin Ruiz, everything activity-wise on board already booked. What to do? Keep checking back, Justin, for availability. Check on board the ship, and if all else fails, Justin, show up a little bit earlier to the reserved times. You know, if it says, okay, bumper cars is at 9 a.m. Show up about 8:45 or so. You'll have a lot of I think you'll have a lot of luck with that. Victoria, can the refrigerators be empty in the room so you can put your own stuff in? Absolutely. In fact, Victoria, these days, they tend to be automatically unfilled. But yes, you can always ask your stateroom attendant to empty it if there is stuff in there. Jason's other tip is register kids for Adventure Ocean day 1. They will love it. Absolutely. Bridget says, I always bring thank you notes for any amazing stuff I encounter, include my waitstaff and room steward. Excellent tip. I missed a question there, so I'm trying to... Sorry. Unfortunately, when I scroll a little bit, it cuts me off, and anyway, I fixed it. Katie Scarano says, sorry to complete my thought. Just want to make sure that all Allure-of-the-Seas will be at fully functioning in December, even though it is going to dry dock next year. Oh yeah, Katie, you'll have a great time on Allure-of-the-Seas. Not to worry. Daniel, do you think Oasis will get WoW bands in the refurbishment on January? I don't think so at all. Lori, I don't have a passport. Will my real ID, driver's license, and birth certificate work? We're sailing to the Bahamas next May. Yes, Lori. Make sure it is the original birth certificate, the raised seal one, not a photocopy, not a reprint. It's got to be the original. It's got to have the raised seal on it. But yes, and I would advocate, though, Lori, that you invest the money in a passport. It's well worth the money, I'm telling you. Manny, we have late dining. Can we change it? Sure. If you book directly with Royal Caribbean, call Royal Caribbean. If not, if you book through a travel agent, your travel agent can change it for you. Elizabeth Eastwood, what do you do with your belongings when you're at the port on the beach? I'm afraid someone will steal our stuff. I just leave it at the chair. I leave it at the chair, too. I mean, we don't leave it in plain sight. We're not just like, oh, here's my phone. Let me just leave this out in there. Don't leave it in plain sight. Don't make it an easy target. That's probably the easiest thing to do. And stay somewhat near it. If we're going to go far away, if we're all going to go for a walk, then we will take a bag with some of our major valuables with us. But in general, I have probably a positive, glass is half full outlook on these kind of things. I've had pretty good luck with it. But again, don't make yourself a target. Don't leave these things out flagrantly. That's all. Let's see here. Marcella, what's your favorite ship? I've done a few. Anthem is your favorite. Great ship, by the way. I was just on Anthem in July. That was earlier this year. Earlier this month, I mean. My favorite ship is Harmony of the Seas, but Anthem is a great choice. Will says, what's the best ship to convince my somebody that we need to go on an Oasis class ship? Oh, the best way to convince somebody that you go on an Oasis class. Show them videos, Will. I don't think people really understand what these ships entail until they actually see a video. I think that's a really good option. Any tips for Symphony of the Seas and Coco Key? Dr. Sparkles, yes. We have, on our YouTube channel here, we have our top 10 Symphony of the Seas hidden secrets. You're going to want to watch that video. And we have a lot of great content with tips and advice about Perfect Day at Coco Key at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. And I'm not trying to dodge the question or cheapen your answer by any means, Dr. Sparkles. I just think that's really where you find a plethora of great advice for you. Ryan Reynolds, what's the best beach option at Costa Maya? I would recommend highly Maya Chance, an all-inclusive day pass place. Love it. It's one of my favorite places to go in the whole wide Caribbean. Starry Night. Don't know if you went on Harmony at Port Canaveral, but if so, is there any transportation options from Orlando to the port? Yes, I live in Orlando, so it's not quite the same thing as what you as what you're going to encounter. You have a couple options. Number one, Royal Caribbean does offer transportation service. They're called transfers, but I think you're better off with one of two choices, honestly. Either you're taking a Lyft or Uber ride, it's not that expensive really, or renting a car. Depends what your plans are and a variety of other factors involved, but I would look at those two options primarily. Allie Nicole says, any tips for an Alaska cruise or any must-see spots? Yes, I love Alaska. Juneau, go to Mendenhall Glacier Park. If you're going to go to Skagway, take the train tour. It's amazing. And anything you recommend do in Victoria, British Columbia, go down. Don't book anything. This was a mistake I made. Last time we booked an excursion and we did all these kind of things, forget it. Go downtown. They have go bar hopping, Allie Nicole. It's a beautiful downtown, great historical sites. I think it's a great town to simply just walk around. Take a taxi, or you can even walk there to the downtown area and enjoy that. Sharon is the key on all ships, pretty much, except for maybe a couple ships like in China or Australia, but it's in most of the fleet, Sharon. Janice, what's the best excursion for St. Kitts? It's probably a beach day. I did something different in St. Kitts the last time I was there. We actually we took a train tour of St. Kitts. So basically they have actually a real train, choo-choo train. I don't know how else to explain that. And it's an old train from the sugarcane trading days, and it takes you around the countryside. It's booked through Royal Caribbean. It was a really fun tour. Aaron Grossman, I do have Jibo. May he rest in peace back there. Let's see here. Storm Chaser just off Mariner on Friday. Great ship. Love that ship. Michael wants some tips about Mariner of the Seas. Maybe Storm Chaser can share some of their experiences as well. But you got to see the ice skating show on board. You've got to eat at Izumi Hibachi. I would recommend doing sail away from the helipad. And if the sky pad is open, definitely check that out. Best non-beach excursion in Roatan, Sarah Baker? Probably a zip line. There's a lot of things over there. Jason, any suggestions for a family-friendly scavenger hunt on Harmony of the Seas? If you want to first of all, Royal Caribbean offers its own brand, Jason. It'll be in the cruise compasses, so look for those. If you want to do your own, maybe what you do, Jason, if you put a little work into it on your end, you can maybe do like a photo scavenger hunt. Like go around, Flickr and Facebook and find photos from around the ship and then crop out those little elements of it and see if your family can find them. But there are Royal Caribbean photo or just family scavenger hunts in general. They're in the cruise compass. Gary wants to know, is it difficult to get a dining assignment for a party of 5 people to be seated together, and how do I do this? No, but Gary, which dining do you have? Do you have My Time dining or do you have traditional dining? But it's not 5 people is very easy to make happen one way or the other. Araceli, welcome. What's the best thing to do in Belize? It is definitely scuba diving or snorkeling, something in the water. They have an absolutely stunning reef down there. You're going to love it. Daniel on Symphony of the Seas, what are the ways to communicate with other guests you're traveling with? Probably the easiest is to get, since everybody already has a phone, is to get an internet package and agree on a common app to message each other with. Let's see here. Lisa, best hotel to stay at the night before at Port Canaveral? The Radisson and the Radisson, I can't remember the other one. The Radisson has a very good reputation over there. What's the difference between the full and half day at Atlantis? Basically the amount of time you get there, Marcella. The Buco Fan 1, we love watching your videos. Do you know if the Florida is open for colder weather in New Jersey in November? It is open year-round. I should say rain or shine, but it's open year-round. Absolutely. Jonathan Harmon, when will Majesty of the Seas be moved to New Orleans? Next year, winter 2020. She will be there. I'm not sure about the Repo cruise, if there is one, but she's going in the winter 2020. Bella Johnson, how often do they change the Broadway shows? Not very often. It's very rare they do change them. They're there for quite a while. Tom Young, was that your first cruise on Anthem? No, that was my third cruise on Anthem of the Seas. Troy wants to know, best hotel in Miami to stay before the night before the cruise? If you want a hotel near the port, I recommend the Intercontinental or the Doubletree Biscayne Bay. Intercontinental or Doubletree Biscayne Bay. If you want a cheap hotel by the airport that's still good, I would recommend the Holiday Inn Express Miami Airport East. Michael, where did I get Royal Caribbean Monopoly? I got it off eBay. Do I know if Liberty of the Seas has... Where's that question? Liberty. Oh, Aggiefield, do you know if Liberty of the Seas has a Broadway show? It does, Saturday Night Fever. Staying alive. Anyway. Well, you can tell by the way... Sorry, all right, that's enough singing for me. Ilya, I hope I said that right. Thank you for the super chat. What's the best beach pass for Bahamas besides Atlantis? British Colonial Hilton. Keep in mind, right now they're refurbishing their pool. I would not go while that's occurring. So call them up, let them know ask about the status. But that's a great one. You can book that through websites like shoreexcursioneer.com or resortforaday.com. Tips for a person who has vertigo. I have no experience with that, Florence. Maybe someone in our chat can help you out with that concern. Justin, what shows do you recommend on Anthem of the Seas? All of them. We Will Rock You, though, is by far the best one. Dominic, will the modified Oasis and Allure be made like Harmony and Symphony? similar to it. There are some changes that very much look like Harmony and Symphony, but they have their own brand of changes, quite frankly, as well. And we have videos on our YouTube channel detailing what the changes are to Oasis and Alert. Nathan, should I be worried about all the Azipod problems sailing on Harmony in 6 days? No, the Azipod problems first are on Allure this season, not Harmony. So you have nothing to worry about, dude. I leave for a moment, I come back and find you singing. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Good to see you here, Juan. Allie, you know if the whale watching in Juneau is a good excursion choice? Yes. Actually, what you should do, Allie, listen to our latest podcast episode that came out this past Wednesday. We have a full review of shore excursions and whale watching in Alaska. I think you'll find that quite helpful. Eleanor, I've never been to that park. I haven't even heard of Zence's Park in Cozumel. I've been to Cozumel many, many times. Never heard of that one. Jeff, how many cruises have you gone on? About 40-something cruises at this point. Phil, watching your videos makes me want to make myself a Kraken and Diet Coke. Sir, I approve. I'm giving you not one, but 2 thumbs up. YOLO, pour it. Make it happen. I like that. Any tips for finding parasailing excursions online, Bridget? I would start with Royal Caribbean's website. It's a really good one to start with. And then otherwise Google. Just Google the port you're going for and parasailing. St. Thomas parasailing, Cozumel parasailing. You'll find a ton of great choices over there. Michael wants to know, should he go to Atlantis? Atlantis is very expensive. It's a great choice. It's a beautiful resort. It's just very expensive. Courtney, what is your favorite ship to sail on and why? Harmony of the Seas. I just love the array of things there. It is the best of the Oasis class with some of the with Quantum class additions. Really, really nice. Henrique Joseph, I'm watching you on Symphony of the Seas. Oh my gosh, I am so jealous. I wish I was on Symphony of the Seas. Apina, do you recommend Mr. Sancho's in Cozumel? I like Mr. Sancho's a lot. Great service. I think my only concern about that place, I have a full review of Mr. Sancho's at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. It's a very big operation, and if you were there and they were ever full, I would be leery of how crowded it could be there because the facility is massive. I prefer either Nachikokum or El Cosmolino personally, but Mr. Sancho's is a great choice. I mean, the service was amazing there. I was astounded by how attentive they were. Goalkeeping is the key worth it for Anthem of the Seas. You know what, Justin, when I just did a YouTube video the other week in which I said I don't think it's worth it. If you take advantage of it, sure. If you're not staying in a suite, if you're already buying the internet package, and you are not very high in Crown and Anchor Society, like below Diamond, yes, I think it can be worth it. Chad, why after paying $2,000+ for my cruise, why should I pay the extra water park on the private island? Because Chad, how's that different than going to New York City or Los Angeles or London and paying to go to a museum or going to any attraction anywhere? I feel like with the places you visit are inherently, this is part of travel, no matter you're on a cruise or a land vacation, these are the attractions. These are what make your vacation, enhance it by doing things. You certainly don't have to. You certainly can have a great time not going to the water park, but if a water park is a neat idea to you, or you think that'd be fun, or your family would enjoy it, look, buddy, that's what vacation's all about, It's not to say that if you went somewhere else, go to New York City, you still pay for it. It's not, you shouldn't look at it, I paid this much for the cruise, I don't want to pay $1 more for it. You should look for it, that's where you started with, okay, now how can we make this, maybe splurge, maybe pick one day to do something like that. And the other days you can take it easy and save the money there. So, to each their own though, certainly. Lisa, Western Caribbean cruise on Harmony or an Eastern cruise on the lower one? Harmony is a great choice. I'm not sure Lisa already rejected that. I think she realized that doesn't make any sense. But Harmony is a great choice, Lisa. I don't think you can go wrong there. Amy, I wish they would just allow us to pay for the wave pool because I'm scared of the slides. You know what, Amy? I spent a lot of time in that wave pool. You can make an argument that it's worth it to just go for that one. Michael, which class do you recommend? For ship class, they're all great. There is not one ship I don't recommend in Royal Caribbean's fleet. Brett's got a great tip. Take a picture of the name tags of crew members that go above and beyond so you can remember their names and spelling for the post-cruise survey. Excellent point, Brett. That post-cruise survey, guys, is not just another survey you get that is kind of wasting your time. It really helps the crew members out. Honestly, I would tell you, putting a crew member's name down in that survey is better than giving them a tip. I really do mean that. It will help their career a lot. Luis, how much is a group rate? 48 adults, 20 kids? You got to work with the travel agent, buddy. I don't know the answer to that question, but work with the travel agent. They can help you out there quite a bit. Luis, I recommend MEI Travel. MEI Travel. We have a link to them at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Buko fan, in a previous video, you stated that the jet ski in Nassau, Bahamas is better than Coco Key. Can you explain why that is? Not so much better, as is I think there's more compelling choices in Perfect Day at Coco Key to do that. Whereas in Nassau, it's fine for that. Take advantage of Perfect Day. Do stuff on the island there. Nassau, go for the jet ski. That's my logic, if you want to follow that one there. I can't say this name right. Wakin? How is the weather in December going on Harmony on December 15th? It's going to be awesome, dude. Your friends are going to be freezing at home. You're going to have a great cruise. What time's Harmony of the Seas boarding time open? Adrian wants to know. Good question. Usually, you can begin checking in about 10 a.m. and embarkation begins sometime in the 11 o'clock hour. Brian Booth, only 130 days till our 10th anniversary cruise on Liberty. Do you think Sabor is worth the price? Brian, I think Sabor is worth every penny. Love me some Sabor. It's amazing. How many days before the sailing can you book excursions, Drew? You know what? A lot of cases, you could book them, months and not years in advance, especially if you go out to third parties. You don't have to do it that way, Drew. You have a little more flexibility with shore excursions. But if there's something that's very popular, as an example, going to Kennedy Space Center in Port Canaveral is a very popular choice and they can sell out. I would recommend booking it as early as you can. Bridget, what type of power ship do you recommend for a cruise? No power ships. They're going to be confiscated by Royal Caribbean. Instead, Bridget, bring a USB hub. So instead of like a power ship, you can plug in electricity, a power plug. Instead, what I would recommend you do is bring a USB hub with you. Those are okay. Sarah, is it really worth it to pursue all the Crown and Anchor stages? How to jump through stages faster? The first part of your question is a very hard question to answer. There's pros and cons to it. I wouldn't say you should purely cruise just to move up the system. It's not quite that great, but it is nice to have them. The easiest way to move up is to either stay in suites or cruise by yourself because you can get double or triple points by doing that. So Brittany says, my only problem with my current cruise, sailing in 69 days, is the time. My flight leaves the day before. It leaves at 5:40 in the morning. The things I do for vacation. It's well worth it. You'll thank yourself later. Daniel, how do you book excursions through a third party? Basically, you either call them or you book through their websites. Basically, Daniel, you would go to Google and search for St. Thomas activities or excursions, things of that nature. Jakari wants to know, what is the best dish at Jamie's Italian? Man, I love me some. I'm an eggplant parmesan fanatic. That's my go-to dish. Love that. The garlic bread is amazing. Also the planks. Anything planks, you got to get that. Tony, when do people start arriving to embarking in the terminal? 10 a.m. You'll start getting between 10 and 11:30 is like the early birds. Most people arrive, I think, between 11:30 and 1:30. What time is the live stream ending, Kim? 3, 2, 1. All right, I'll go a couple more minutes, but we are running out of time here because it's a great question. I love answering these questions, guys. So thank you so much for joining me here. Amy, is there a molten lava cake on Royal? Yes, in the main dining room. Absolutely, it is really good. Ronnie has got a great tip. Is to ask the room porter to keep ice in your bucket. Absolutely. Henrique is watching on Symphony of the Seas. Everyone, please subscribe. Thank you for the very, very kind words there. Madden Killers Lounge. I love these names on YouTube. What should I do on a 4-day cruise? Brother, enjoy your time there. Sit by the pool, relax, maybe enjoy some drinks. I think you'd enjoy that. Chad wants to know, can you use your 3 free diamond drinks while at Coco Key after 4:30 p.m.? Good question, Chad. The answer is no. It's only on board the ship. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here. Love the question. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you to everybody for not only offering questions, but also offering great advice as well on your own. If you're looking for more Royal Caribbean news, information, fun, advice, check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Losing my voice already. We're live every Monday here on YouTube, so I hope you'll join us again next week to talk more Royal Caribbean with you guys. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy. Do something fun. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. See you guys.